Estelle Geddes, the Golden Girl.
Picture it, California, 1988. This is such a big thrill, and I know that I can't take too much time, but I want to thank the immediate world. First, my husband and sons, Arthur and Carl and Barry, and my sister Roz, and all my wonderful friends and relatives on both coasts, my teacher, Gerard Russack. I want to thank my managers, Alan Siegel and Juliette Green, my agents, Harris Goldberg and Monty Silver in New York, and now down to the heavy artillery, to our wonderful, wonderful producers with Thomas Harris, with special emphasis to that lovely lady, Susan Harris, who invented and conceived Golden Girls. Thank you. Our Silver Fox director, Terry Hughes, and to the staff and crew who work on our show cheerfully and wonderfully, and of course to the best set of writers ever to write for a television program. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the reason that I'm standing up here, the three most beautiful, generous, wonderful, talented ladies, my daughter Bea Arthur and her two roommates, Rue McClanahan and Betty White. Thank you to the Academy. I have a lot of trouble getting clothes, and some clothes I have made up. Now that I'm on Golden Girls, they make a lot of stuff for me.
And can you keep it?
No. Some of the things I can.
Oh, they should let you keep it. You're a success.
I just want to say, has this been a year for women? There's Lily, Oprah, you with your own, Whoopi Goldberg, and the Golden Girls, all in 1 year.
Isn't that great? Yeah, and tomorrow night we have the president of Now coming on.
Oh, really?
Isn't that exciting?
That's terrific.
Are you a feminist?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yeah, so am I. So we all.
We better be.
But you can have everything. You can be married and have your children and have your career or not have your career.
I guess I was a feminist before it was fashionable, because that's what I did.
Yeah. But
I had a home and kids and a career and worked at an office, and, you know, I just did it all.
you were also a stand-up comedian, someone told me.
It's interesting that you mentioned Jean Carroll, because I stole from Jean Carroll, too. I was the worst stand-up comedian. I was awful, but I never worked big places like you did. Well, I was before you. So
no one was before me, Estelle. I'm sorry. Moses was writing my jokes on his tablets. I mean,
when I was doing it, New York was a prairie. I mean, it was like... Not on the phone.
Yeah, that's respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like being a working mom?
It was tough. I didn't really leave home until the kids were going to school full time. I was always there when the kids needed me. And then I went out to seek my fame and fortune and learn a trade. I learned to type and take shorthand and become a secretary. I'm Jewish. You weren't allowed to become waitresses.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, no. No waitresses.
No.
So I learned how to take shorthand and to type and to do all those grand things. And then I would involve everybody in my life, and I'd go off to summer stock, and they'd keep my job for me. I lied. I did all kinds of things. The lashes, the wigs, the makeup. I'd go for auditions until they got used to the idea that I was going to do this.
Right.
And then I brought everybody into my life, and it was great fun.
And you did summer stock. Your first love is theater.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you'd say that.
What's your favorite role you ever did?
I guess Mrs. Beckoff in Torch
Song Trilogy. You were so good in that.
You all remember that?
Oh, yeah, of course they do. This is New York.
Wow.
With Harvey. Of course, he wrote that role for you. Is that true?
Well, he said he wrote the role for me. What happened was that I had seen the first two plays, and I said to him, "You're a wonderful young writer." I said, write another play, write another segment of this, and write the mother part. I'll play the mother. And I was kidding, of course. I didn't know him that well. And within a year, he wrote such a play, but I wasn't invited to audition for it. Oh. And then one Sunday night, I got a call, and Harvey said, "Estelle, want the part? Come on down." And that's the way I got it.
That's it. You were in. You didn't have to audition. He just gave it to you.
No, that's right.
Oh, you were so great in that.
He had auditioned everybody in New York by that time.
Really? He was desperate. Yeah.
He really was.
This was the first time we saw Sophia. In 1985, the role was intended to be temporary, but 6 seasons later, she's still one of the Golden Girls.
Ribs, great. Why don't you just kick the dentures out of my mouth?
She's been nominated for an Emmy every year since the show started, and in 1988, she won.
Estelle Getty's the Golden Girl.
Getty's so-called overnight success has actually taken generations of mostly forgettable roles.
It's so terrible to want your son to be somebody.
Hardly anyone remembers that she played Cher's mom in Mask, or one of Dustin Hoffman's adoring fans in Tootsie.
Emily, we love you.
Fabulous.
You're wonderful. Wonderful.
She was born Estelle Cher 68 years ago in New York City. Her parents were Polish immigrants who never discouraged their daughter's unlikely dreams of stardom. Estelle married Arthur Gettelman 45 years ago, and they have 2 sons, Carl and Barry. This will be the Golden Girls' final season, but Estelle is already moving on to feature films. Her latest is Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, and her co-star is Sylvester Stallone.
Stop, or my mom will shoot!
Our Sandy Newton spoke with television's most popular grandmother.
So I understand in your new film, you actually did a lot of your own stunts?
I did them not of my own volition. I did them because Sly said I was a wimp. So I did. As a matter of fact, one of the stunts that he was carrying me and using what I thought was going to use my head as a ramrod to get through the building. And I said to him, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "Why, you have something in that head we don't know about?" He's a very funny guy.
Did he handpick you? I heard he's a big fan of yours.
I don't know if he's a fan of mine. I think he is, but he didn't handpick me. I was slated for the film before he was.
Did you like doing this kind of action comedy?
I thought I was going to like it more than I did because I didn't realize that so much is for real. Wrecking balls and car chases and that kind of thing. All the things that I said I would never do, I did.
I read that you think you might have gotten a lot of your inspiration for going into acting from your dad, who wasn't an actor, but
No.
in fact...
He wasn't an actor, but he was one of the wittiest, funniest men. And I think had he known that he was an actor, he would have been one.
And is it true that at the young age of 4, you decided that you'd lost your heart and soul to acting?
Absolutely. The first time I went to a place called the Academy of Music on 14th Street in New York, and the first act of vaudeville came on, and I thought, that's what I want. I want to be up there. That's what I want to do. And I pursue that all of my life.
And you've been doing it for...
A lot of years.
Yes. Close to 40?
Okay, I'll settle for that.
Okay.
Close to 50. Wow. Yeah, more than that.
And it wasn't really until Golden Girls that you became what they say an overnight sensation.
I did a play called Torch Song Trilogy that ran for 4 years. And at the end of that, my life changed. I got Golden Girls. I did a whole lot of other things, but Golden Girls was what catapulted me into this kind of visibility.
I think you've, since that time, not been unemployed.
I have not been unemployed now for 11 years. In this business, that's going some. It's been a lot of luck. I mean, I just got really, really lucky after years of obscurity.
I read a cute quote where you said, now, I could either say I'm a secretary who works in the theater or I'm an actress who works as a secretary.
Yeah, no, they used to say to me, you can't take off this much time to do the theater. I mean, that's the hobby. I said, no, this is my hobby. Being a secretary is my hobby. That's my vocation, acting. I would never accept raises that would put me in another category where I had to work longer and commit to any job, because I was always afraid I'd be seduced by the money and the title. So when anybody wanted to promote me in the business world, I used to kind of leave and go on to another job.
That's amazing.
Because I knew that I had to go on the stage and I had to pursue that career, and I could not become serious about working in industry.
Now let me get this straight. You were married, you had 2 sons, working as a secretary, trying to find theater work at night.
Yeah, and worked at night. I used to have a lot of jobs.
So you really were kind of the quintessential working mother.
Oh, yeah. Long before it became popular.
Did you find that quality time for your husband and the kids and the career?
My priority were always my children. My children were my priority. No matter what went down, they came first.
Did they think Mom was kind of silly at night? She'd be this theater gypsy off working?
I guess they didn't know any other kind of mother. They thought that was okay. Their friends would bring it to their attention, you know. The first time my youngest son saw me do a play, it was Tiger and the Typist, and in one of those I appeared in a flowered slip. I get kidnapped by this man because he wants a companion, and in order to keep me there, he takes my skirt, and I had on this
Flowers. That was the first play that my youngest son Barry saw me, and he was so embarrassed. He was so ashamed. Somebody asked him, "Is Estelle?" He said, "She's not my mother. She's not my mother." Now he stops people in the street and talks about me.
And shows them at by tens, I understand. Is it true that at 18 you tried to be a stand-up comedian?
Yeah, very briefly, very briefly. It wasn't a time when women were comedians. I think it's the most naked thing you can do in the theater. I love comics. I love stand-up comics. I think they're the bravest entertainers in the world.
Was there one night where you just kind of turned around and said, I'm not going to do this anymore?
Yeah, when I also had to be a busgirl in the children's dining room at the hotel that I was entertaining at, and a kid threw applesauce at me. I decided it was time to stop.
And then you decided to take acting full?
Acting was always what I wanted to do. People used to tell me I was so funny in the living room that I should do stand-up, so I did, but I was funny in the living room, not on stage.
And your husband married you knowing that this was your dream?
Yeah, I don't think he thought it was going to turn out the way it did. I don't think he thought I was going to be absent. You know, people keep asking me, you know, how I kept my marriage together all of these years. It's because I haven't been home for 22 years. I mean,
I thought it was funny to read that you said after all these years of doing theater, off-Broadway, on-Broadway, off-Broadway, they never gave you a love interest.
They never gave me a love interest because I never played those kind of roles. I've always been a character actress. Now, what's interesting is that on the Golden Girls, we counted up 8 affairs, for want of a better word, more than all the women put together.
Oh, my goodness. So you're making up for it now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
In the body of an 80-year-old? How old?
85.
85-year-old
Yeah.
woman. Now, I read, too, that when you originally auditioned for Golden Girls, you had no idea it was for the role of Sophia.
No. When I got the script, I assumed that it was for the role of Dorothy. I talked to my managers, and they said, no, that's the part is for the grandmother, is for Dorothy's mother. And we just created Sophia.
Is it true that there are certain things you won't let Sophia say?
That's right. I have a thing about gratuitous pain. I have a thing about using humor to really hurt. Why would you make fun of somebody who's fat, or who's cross-eyed, or who's bald? And I won't do gay-bashing jokes. I remember once they wanted me to do a line about, and my husband, the end of the tagline was, and my husband said, "You do that and I'll beat the hell out of you." And I said, "I won't do that line. I don't make jokes about beating." They said, "Oh, it's just," I said, "I won't do it."
Kind of bittersweet knowing that this is the final season?
Well, it doesn't mean that we're not going to go on. It's the final season of Golden Girls as we know it now. There's a possibility, probability, what have you, that it will go on in a different format. I don't really know this for a fact. I'm just throwing this out.
Well, yeah, I understand they're developing something for the 4 of you.
Yeah.
Do you have a feeling after 7 years of being Sophia that somewhere down the line, maybe another 20 years, you're going to become Sophia?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. That would be so great. Because I really like that lady. I play her with all the love I can because I think she's a great character. I think she's a great person. A caring, feisty, daring, optimistic, tough, smart lady.
If a young actor came to you and said, "Boy, is it worth it, though, those 40 years of struggling?"
Let me tell you what I tell young actors. I always say to them, if there are 2 things in this world that you want to do, and one of them is acting, do the other. Because it's the toughest business in the world. Was it worth it for me? You bet. You bet, because I won the lottery. I was one of the people who made it. It took me a long time, but success is sweet at any age. I mean, it's like everything I ever dreamed of in my life came true.
Now, who did you base your character Sophia on?
People ask me that all the time. Actually, she's based on 2 real people. One of them, the mother of my best friend, Rhoda. Where are you, Rhoda?
Rhoda's
There she
here.
is.
Rhoda. Hello, Rhoda. Estelle's best friend. How are you? Based on her mother?
Her mother.
Yeah.
And the grandmother of another friend of mine.
Yeah.
And everybody keeps asking about the purse.
Yeah, the purse. Everybody wants to know what was in that purse.
It's not what's in it. Because when people get old and they're displaced from their homes and they have to go live someplace else, they have what they keep in their purse is the most important things in their lives, and putting down the purse is like putting down your life. So after a while, everybody got used to the purse. Now I have it, and whoever wants it is going to have to pay heavy money for it.
I'll bet you could get a lot of money at that auction, you know? Remember we did that auction?
That auction. Should I tell them about the auction?
Tell them about the auction. Go ahead.
We were having an auction for some kind of benefit, and Rosie offered to go to dinner with anybody who would pay a certain amount of money. And we got there, and she got there so easily. She said, well, this is not enough. Maybe we should have lunch with Carol Burnett and me, or dinner with Estelle Getty and Carol Burnett and me. And she said, you don't mind, Estelle, do you?
Right.
I mean, I'm sitting in an audience with 500 people. I'm going to say, yeah, I mind. I don't want to go out with me.
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
So I said, sure.
Sure, Rosie.
Sure, Rosie.
Yeah, it was an AIDS charity, and I was up there, and I'm like, oh, nobody's bidding. I'm like, who wants to go to dinner with me? Nobody bids. I see Estelle. I go, Estelle, you want to go to dinner? She goes, all right. And then we got like $40,000. You see, you came through, Estelle. There you go. You had so many great guest stars on the show. Who was your favorite to work with?
Not so much my favorite, but the one that was most important was Mickey Rooney.
Oh, Mickey Rooney.
When I was a kid and I used to go to see Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland, I used to think to myself, if I went out to Hollywood and Mickey Rooney fell in love with me and we got married, we'd be the biggest, shortest stars in the world. And I decided to tell him this story, though he was not easy to talk to. I told him the story, and he looked at me, and he said, so you're the one I missed?
We had our audience come up with questions. They wanted to know, when we told them you were here, they were so excited. Jamie McKnight, who's 15 years old, asked, will there be a Golden Girls reunion?
Oh, I hope so, but I don't see it in the near future.
No.
I think when one of us becomes terminal, we'll have it.
And that won't be for a long time, I hope. What was the funniest off-camera situation Teresa Federici wants to know?
Off camera. Oh, anytime you dropped something or broke something or cut something, like putting cake in your mouth and it falling down. I mean, we didn't have much. We were well rehearsed. We were a very well rehearsed group.
Yeah, that show really went very quick. All the lines were so well written and scripted. Really, I mean, it was really well executed, that show.
We worked hard on it.
I'll bet. Which of the Golden Girls is really the oldest? Richard Rosenzweig wants to know.
Can you keep a secret? Really, everybody?
Yeah.
You all promise?
Yeah.
You can keep a secret?
Yeah.
So can I.
Estelle Getty, ladies and gentlemen. She has a new workout tape. Look for it in your video store. Thank you, Estelle. You're wonderful. Isabella Rossellini is up next. We'll be right back.